This one I play with like a 2-year-old.
That one's
Oh, that is fun.
Oh, sorry.
It sticks in there.
Good, happy, foggy morning to you, and welcome back to the channel. This video is kind of splice in, I guess you might say. I was invited recently to do a class on foraging for Uchee Pines Institute, which is not far from my mother's farm here in Alabama. And I made the wrong choice of which microphone to attach to the camera. I did not use our lapel mic. Instead, I used the shotgun mic, and the sound quality was not good. And I had different people that were holding the camera while I did the class, and so some of the footage is quite shaky. But I'm going to salvage what I can from that class, but I'm afraid that some of the things that I shared at the very beginning in the building that we were in were so echoey that it's a little bit hard to understand. So I just have a few points here that I want to cover real quick before I go into the actual video footage from the class. These are some things to consider if you're going to start learning how to forage and look for food and medicine out in nature. You really want to make sure, if you don't have your own land, if you know somebody that has property, or you see some interesting edible or medicinal plant on some land, you need to make sure you have permission. I mean, that kind of sounds like a given, but it's very tempting to just run and grab it, you know. Another thing that you want to be very careful of is harvesting alongside the road, a busy road, because those plants are exposed to a lot more toxins. So you want to be careful to stay away where there's maybe chemical runoff, like from farming or from agriculture practices, you know, a lot of livestock and stuff like that. Just be very careful that you harvest in an area where your plants are, you know, less likely to be toxic. Of course, we can't help what's sprayed from above. We just have to ask the Lord to bless our efforts. Another thing is to be 1000% sure that you know what you're harvesting. Get some books, you know, watch some videos, take a class. Make sure that you know what you're harvesting, because many of the plants that we look at, for instance, a lot of people say that Queen Anne's lace looks a lot like poison hemlock. I kind of can see that, but I guess because I know what they both are, they don't really look alike to me, but to a lot of people they do, you know. And I have had people point at poison hemlock and say, is that Queen Anne's lace? And so you really need to make sure that you know what you're harvesting, because if you get poison hemlock instead of Queen Anne's lace, that could be deadly. So make sure, 1000% sure, that you know what you're harvesting. I like to encourage people to engage their senses, to begin to learn where plants like to grow. You know, what plants do you often see growing together? What environment, for instance, cleavers, chickweed. I almost always find chickweed growing where it's more cool, maybe a little bit shady, not in direct sun as much as I do in the cooler north side of buildings and stuff like that, or trees. So engage your senses, look at shapes, flower shapes. You know, you can begin to recognize plants by the environment, by, you know, yeah, I remember seeing chickweed in an environment like this, you know. I remember that little flower. Just engage your senses, your sense of smell. Often, particularly for toxic plants, a lot of times they'll have a very acrid smell, and that's a clue. And so we need to learn to engage our senses as we learn how to forage. I have some Indian heritage in me, and the Cherokee tribe has a rule that you only harvest every third plant. So if you're out and you find a little patch of golden seal or something, don't harvest all of it, because you may have just killed that, you know, because with golden seal it's the root, and you have to be aware, if you take the root, if the root is the food or the medicine, you're killing that plant. And so you need to make sure that you're going to leave enough for that plant to propagate for other people. Another thing that we need to be very careful about is when we begin to introduce wild edibles, it takes a little different set of enzymes to digest these things. They're much stronger. The vitamin and the nutritional profile of wild plants is much more intense than say what you can grow in your garden, unless you've been working on your soil for 15 years and you know it's in perfect shape. But most of the time these plants are going to be a lot more concentrated form of nutrition, and your body may not be used to that. So don't make a huge humongous salad of wild edible greens and sit down and eat the whole thing. You may end up with a terrible gut ache. Just introduce them slowly. Put a few and make sure that every table has some. Does anybody know what this is? Out of the mouths of babes and suckers. Yes, lichen. It's Usnea lichen. I have a video about this on our YouTube channel. Our YouTube channel is under my name, Dana Gazelshin. And this right here, when I got Rocky Mountain spotted fever, if I had known about this herb, I never would have taken the antibiotic that spun me into chronic tick-borne illness. I would have taken this. The nickname of this herb is nature's doxycycline. Now, I'm not going to go into a whole lot of details on how to identify it. It's actually edible too, but why would you? It doesn't taste good, but it will sustain life. Also, if you're out in the woods and you cut yourself, you can take a big wad of this Lucea lichen and place it on your wound, and it will stop bleeding. It will also keep infection out. Now, you'll notice some of these look a little bit differently. The Usnea lichen always grows in conjunction with this algae that you see attached to the actual stem or the stick here. This is the Usnea, this fuzzy looking stuff. Some people call it old man's beard. Thank you. Dandelion, if you don't know, is one of our premium liver herbs. Very good for the liver. Very good. The whole plant is usable. The root, and on the standard, which I didn't find any standard dandelion around here, but one interesting thing that you can do with the standard dandelion is the flower stalk. You can pick a bunch of those and use it like pasta for those who are gluten-free. Sister Victoria, you are standing right over. This is a species of clover. Yes, that is edible. And this right here looks very similar. This is actually wood sorrel, a species of wood sorrel right here. Oh. It tastes very sour and lemony, very pleasant taste. Anything that is sour like that is high in vitamin C. Here's some right here, yes. Yeah, that is a species of sorrel. And I'm going to show you another species. You said
this is a species of clover.
This is a species of clover, yes. And that is edible.
Edible?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Go ahead. That's why the goat eat it.
Okay, I don't know every plant out here. I'm just going to share with you the ones that I do know. Let's move over here. You guys saw the wood sorrel here. This is another species of sorrel right here. When I was a kid, we called this rabbit tobacco. Okay?
Call it what?
Rabbit tobacco. But this is actually called sheep's sorrel.
Oh.
Now, it's good to learn the botanical names of these, because region by region the names may change. But this is sheep's sorrel. Does anybody want to taste it?
Okay.
It's very lemony.
Did you say sheep?
Really?
Spicy.
Bobby, can I try?
I like the flavor.
I like it too.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites right there.
Let me try.
That is sheep's sorrel, vitamins and minerals. And anything in nature that has that tart, sour flavor is high in vitamin C. And then right here, this is crimson clover. That is also edible, very good for purifying the blood. Okay, crimson clover.
Okay, but don't poke your eye out.
We've got 6 there. Has anybody heard of crane's bill? Crane's bill?
Crane's bill.
Yeah, this is Carolina geranium. Carolina geranium.
I'm sorry.
Okay, it does have a toxic look-alike, but to me, I have a hard time understanding why people call it a look-alike, because to me it doesn't look that much like this, but I can kind of see how people might think it looks like it. This is really good for GI issues. It's very astringent. It's good for wound care. You can make a tea out of it and put it on wounds. It's good for diarrhea. If somebody has diarrhea, it helps to tone a medicinal plant than an edible. Although you can make a tea out of it, if you specifically if you have GI problems like diarrhea or whatever.
So you make a tea of it.
Make a tea. Here's one right here. This one has been cut, but the very tip of this is very good. This is a greenbrier or smilax. Another name of it is sarsaparilla.
Oh, sarsaparilla.
Is that the one that smells like root beer?
Sarsaparilla.
Yeah, the root was sarsaparilla was one of the original ingredients of root beer.
Yeah.
The root is really good to help balance hormones. People that have hormone issues. The leaves, the young leaves like these are very tender yet. These are edible. They taste pretty good. And the very tip, I saw a young plant that the tip hadn't been broken off of. I think there's one right there by you. Those tips are delicious. Very good. The new growth tips of these greenbriers are very good. There are species of greenbrier or smilax that don't have thorns, and those are not the ones that have the real strong medicinal qualities. The ones that are medicinal have thorns.
That is
wild garlic.
Who knows what this is?
Wild garlic.
Smell it.
what's the fire that's right here?
Onion.
This is all fire.
Wild onion. Wild
I
onion.
have a bunch of them.
It's a lot on garlic.
Wild onion.
I have a bunch of them.
It smells awesome. Who knows what this is?
You picked it? You weren't supposed to pick it.
Does anybody
Plantain?
know? Plantain. Are you cheating? Okay, plantain. Does anybody know what plantain is good for?
Lots of stuff.
Yes, lots of stuff. That's a good answer. It's, if you don't know, yes. Thank you for pointing this out. This is narrow leaf plantain, and the seed pods, when they come out, that's where psyllium comes from. That's psyllium.
Oh.
Yeah, that is psyllium.
Like the psyllium
Yes. Yes. Yeah, that is psyllium. So that is plantain. It's excellent for wound care. You can make, it's actually in one of my salves. I think I put it in the anti-inflammatory salve, but excellent, excellent. We had a young man helping us on our farm in Kentucky one time, and he got into fire ants, and they were stinging him all up on his neck and stuff. And I grabbed some plantain and I said, chew this up, make a spit poultice, and just smear it on there. And he did, and it took the sting right out from the ant bite. So,
You got that from that thing there? Yeah.
yes, this. Very, very good for any gastric issues, any stomach problems. It's very soothing to the gut.
The whole plant or which parts?
The aerial parts, the seeds and the husk, and then the young leaves like these right here in the center, these could be harvested and put into a salad and eaten. And they're actually not bad tasting. These older leaves out here are the ones you're going to use more for medicine, because they're a little bit tougher, they're older, they're going to have a little bit more medicinal quality. Who knows what this is? We just talked about it.
Then I know what geranium.
Yes, Carolina geranium. This is the young tip of the greenbrier right here. And who wants to taste it?
Talbos.
We'll find you another one.
Talbos.
Very. To me, it tastes a little bit like sunflower seeds.
Oh, this one.
He's eating the onion.
Okay. It's even making the baby.
Wild edible.
Looks like it, yeah.
Yeah.
Enjoying the wild edible. Brother James, are you happy with your onion?
I'm very happy. It actually tastes really good.
Nice.
It's really
Testimony.
good. Love it. My son is eating the other half of it now.
He's eating the chives,
Want
right?
to taste the corn?
No, you don't lick that. No, I don't know what
That's like
Don't eat it.
What do you think, Anna?
That's not lemon.
Nice. And I think the wonderful thing about it, like say if somebody came to steal your food, they would think all those bushes are just weeds and leave them alone. And then you'd be like, oh, I still got lunch.
It's actually kind of tastes good.
When I want to harvest.
What's this one, Sister Dana?
This is bull thistle. All thistles are edible, but they're all spiny. And so you have to, that's why, you know, I mentioned the gloves and the knife and stuff, but you can take and peel this, and the stem is somewhat like celery.
Milk thistle?
No, this is bull thistle.
How do you differentiate both the milk from this one?
Yeah. So you can eat that flower. That is edible. You can eat it raw, whatever. The leaves can be eaten raw, but you have to take the spines off, and to me that's too much work. So I just eat the. Now if I was starving, you know.
Don't have any options.
Yeah, but you can just peel this stem and eat this. It tastes a lot like celery. It's actually kind of pleasant.
Family of celery? No, it tastes like.
It's called the spiky purple flower.
Celery.
Anybody want to taste it?
Can I have one slice? One slice.
How do you tell the difference between bull thistle and milk thistle?
I think milk thistle has the leaves are kind of variegated, a little bit whitish. I've never seen milk thistle in this area.
You want to try, Kayla?
But I would wash the flour. See, I'm scraping everything off here. But this is corn salad. This is corn salad, and it is edible, and I like it. Yeah.
This is corn salad and edible. What part?
Yes. The whole aerial part.
Okay, thank you so much. I'll let the other people come up and see.
Corn salad.
Can it be raw?
Yes, you can eat it raw.
Corn salad. Corn salad.
What does it taste like?
A little bit nutty.
What do you think, Brother James?
I like it. That's what matters, you know.
And it's free, right?
That's right.
When you peel it back, okay, and you get that out of the way, you have an inner bark, and that inner bark is called the cambium layer. You see that stringing? That's called the cambium layer, and that's where the nutrition and the water and everything travels up and down, and I should be able to get a better piece for you. It travels, so if I took my knife and I cut all the way around this limb, it would die. Everything out there would die if I cut through that cambium layer, okay? That cambium layer and the leaves are very astringent. What is astringent? Does anybody know what astringent is?
For cleansing?
What's that?
For cleansing.
For cleansing, and it helps to pull tissues together and heal tissues. So if you have a wound that needs to close up, you can make a wound wash with the leaves, with the cambium layer, and even somewhat the acorns. And the acorns, have you ever eaten acorns?
Acorns?
No.
Well, in the South we call them acorns. Excuse me. Acorns, yes. You can eat them. You have to kind of leach out the tannins because they're so bitter. I mean, they'll really. Has anybody ever eaten an unripe persimmon?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, everybody knows that's astringent. Okay, that's going to really draw your mouth up. That's the property that this tree has. So anytime you make a wound wash or something, it's going to help to do that to your tissues. It's going to draw those tissues together and help to heal that wound. Okay, and the acorn has that same property, but if you run it through several exchanges of water, boiling it, the Indians used to put it in a sack and put it in a creek and let the water run through it, and that would leach out the tannins, and then they can eat it. You can leach it out like that, dry it and grind it up into a powder and make a flour and make a gluten-free bread. And I have done that, and it's actually quite tasty, but it's best mixed with some other kind of flour because it's a very strong flavor, in my opinion. This is a sweet gum tree. Sweet gum tree. I don't remember the Latin name. The leaves,
Gum tree.
the fruit, which if you've never stepped on a sweet gum fruit barefooted, it's something you'll never forget because it's very painful. I don't see any on the ground right now. They don't really produce fruit until they're about 20 or 25 years old. The inner bark, the leaves, and the fruit are medicinal. Very powerful medicine. They contain a substance called shikimic acid. And that shikimic acid is something that the pine tree, the pine needle leaves also contain. And that is very effective against any C virus. Everybody knows what the C virus is, right?
Yes. The C virus.
I shouldn't say that word because we're being recorded.
Right.
So shikimic acid actually, and dandelion will do this too. Dandelion will prevent the spike protein from attaching to the ACE2 receptor on our cells. Shikimic acid has a similar property. So you can take the inner bark of this tree, the leaves, and the fruits when they come and make medicine. Make
What's
a tea.
the name of the tree again?
Sweet gum.
Sweet gum.
Sweet gum. And if you ever try to burn one for firewood, you'll never forget it because it's very hard to split.
Okay. Sorry, question.
I'm going to wound this tree just a little bit.
Oh man, Dr. Agatha wouldn't have been happy.
How do you know she would have been too?
No.
Okay, this that you're seeing right here, this layer is the cambium. That thin layer right there. That is edible. If you're ever out after this class, if you're ever stranded in the wilderness and you're in a pine forest and you starve, I'm never going to admit that you were in my class. Because this right here will keep you alive.
Wow.
That's the cambium layer of the pine tree. Now it's kind of tough.
Any pine tree?
Any pine tree, yes, any pine tree. Now it's kind of like eating wood. It's tough, you know.
Good fiber.
It's good fiber. But if you have a little cook pot and you kind of saute this, it becomes like bacon.
Wow.
Crispy,
I will try
easy to
that.
chew, easier to digest. So people call it bark bacon. And the old timers, they fry it in bacon fat or lard. And it's very tasty fried up that way. But of course, we're not going to do that, but you could probably use coconut oil or something if you wanted to do that. Does anybody want to taste it?
I'll try it.
Okay.
How about the inner? Or the inner or the outer only?
The outer is not, no, you can't, this stuff right here you got to take off. Okay? And you want to get down to that layer right there, just underneath. See that? See, that's real wood right there. Can you see the difference?
Yes.
Wow.
Okay.
So that one cannot be eaten anymore.
What's that?
Cannot be eaten the one
This
inside.
part? No.
No, the one that you are bringing.
That's wood. This can be. That's the
Only the
cambium.
white.
The white.
Okay.
Yeah, the white is the cambium layer.
Cambium.
Now, this tree is going to produce, what is this tree going to produce to heal itself?
Sap.
Pine sap. Now, let me say something here. Nature has its signature. It will tell us what things are good for if we pay attention. Think about celery. What is celery good for? What is bamboo good for? What is horsetail good for? All of those plants look like bones. They're stiff and solid and rigid. They're high in silica. All of those plants are high in silica. Silica is very good for our bones, our skin, our teeth, our hair. So if we look at nature, nature will tell us what properties that plant has often. If we learn, I really appreciate, I was reading once about in the beginning, Adam and Eve, they could communicate with the plants. And I long for that capacity to be able to communicate with the plants. what are you good for, you know? Well, anything spiky, I have a video on our YouTube channel called All Things Spiked. Anything spiky like that in nature is very protective to our bodies. It's protective to the liver, detoxing, you know, good for the immune system, that kind of stuff. So if we learn the property, the signature of nature, now it's going to produce this sap to heal its skin. So what do you think pine sap might be good for? Our skin.
Bone.
You can take pine sap, and I actually have a friend. Do you guys know, he's dead now, Bob Jorgensen?
Yeah.
Bob Jorgensen, he wrecked his truck, and it pounded his head and cut his head open, and he just used pine sap salve and healed it up.
Whoa.
Healed it right up. Now, I don't recommend using pine sap salve to heal up animal bites or scratches, because I got scratched by my cat and I sealed it with pine sap and I got tetanus. You know, because she had tetanus on her claws from, you know, digging out in the cattle. Cattle carry tetanus in their gut, and when they go to the bathroom, the tetanus bacteria are there in their gut. So this is going to produce sap to heal its skin. So that should tell us, if this is producing sap to heal his skin, it will help my skin. Okay, so any kind of skin injury, that pine sap is going to be good for. That's why we make the pine sap salve. Okay, let's see what else we can find.
This is white clover, Sister Dana?
Yes.
So that means it's good for the blood.
What is it?
White clover.
Oh, white clover.
Ooh. Can you eat it?
Yes, it's a blood purifier.
It's in the mint family. It has a square stalk, square stem. So you can, that's how you know it is in the mint family.
Henbit?
Henbit.
Is it an aerial as well?
Yes, it's the
Oh, it does. It has a square stem.
So you
To
can
me-
cook them, you can put in salad.
Yeah, you could put it in a salad and eat it.
What is henbit good for?
It's an edible. It's got all of these edibles are loaded with micronutrients, vitamin C, vitamin A, all that stuff. Most of them are anti-inflammatory, and many of them are antioxidant.
So this one is wild, right?
That's some sort of, it's in the brassica family. All docks are good for the liver. What's up, Doc?
Oh, good for the liver.
Curly dock, and it's bitter. Okay, this is bitter, but bitter is better. Bitter is better. It's good for your liver.
Where's the?
Can it be toxic?
Oh,
I mean, because it has oxalic acid in it, oxalates. If you eat, you know, too much, but if you cook it, cooking really helps to denature that, so that it's not as toxic. So you can eat these as a pot herb. The young leaves, this one might be, but you see some young leaves coming up here. Those are actually better to eat. Wasn't that curly dock, yellow dock? There's more henbit.
Sister Marilena, how are you enjoying the class?
love it.
Nice. Yeah, Sandy, how are you enjoying the class?
I'm enjoying the class a lot.
Awesome. Olivia and Todd, how are you guys enjoying the class?
I like the food.
Oh, nice.
Good answer.
It's very good to learn to recognize plants at all stages. This is yellow dock going to seed, and the seeds are edible.
This is a nice green.
Are they
Seeds
green
are
like
edible.
that?
Huh?
Green like that, they're edible.
Yes, you can eat them like this, or you can wait until they mature. They are bitter. Okay, see what else is out
And the leaf?
here. This one I play with like a 2-year-old.
That one's.
Oh, that is fun.
Oh, sorry.
It sticks in there.
Yeah.
So what
This is
What is
called
it?
cleavers, Gallium aperon. I do know the Latin name of that one.
Like
Some people call it sticky willy.
It's like this. You play a game with this. I got you.
You can break it. Break it.
Sticky Willy.
Cleavers. This right here is very good to move lymph. It's a very gentle lymph cleanser. You can put it in smoothies. This is one of my favorite herbs. It's very nice to the body. Most people have their lymph is plugged up. So if you have somebody, say, that has a really stubborn case of tonsillitis, you could
me. Oh, me. Wow.
you could take a little bit of poke root tincture and a whole lot of this and mix them together and make a very good medicine for that. But do not use poke unless you know what you're doing. You need a little bit more education before you use poke, because if you use poke root tincture, the dosage is in drops. 1 drop, 2 drops. Okay, so you really kind of have to know what you're doing. So Gallium apparine cleavers, sticky willy, some people call it. I love this plant. It's very tasty. I like to put this in my salad. The whole aerial part is edible. Okay?
Kind of sticks to your tongue. Interesting. Hey, everybody's wearing their badge. Super cool. What do you think of it, Julie?
A lot of greens, mommy. Just like there's like sticky. Yeah, it's weird.
What do you think, Grandma?
It's good when it is there's a music before taking it.
Music.
Yes.
Yeah. You have to prepare yourself.
Who knows what this is? Anybody know what this is? No. This is chickweed.
Chickweed.
This is chickweed.
Chickweed.
This, it makes a fantastic salve for any kind of skin disorder. It gets nice little white flowers on them. They're very pretty. It's very tender. You can just put it right in a salad and eat it, and it actually tastes very nice. Very nice. So a lot of the wild edibles are bitter, but this one is very nice. The cleavers is pretty nice.
Are you enjoying the class, Brother Erno?
Love it.
What's the best part so far?
I think what I love is what's the edibles, learning about these stuff.
Nice.
Now, excuse what I have here. I
Are you
have
planning for your next salad? So this is Vitex or chaseberry.
Vitex or chaseberry.
What is Vitex good for, Sister Mona?
If your it normalizes hormones. If your hormones are too high, it can lower it down, or if they're too low, they can bring them up. And we used to have a lot of them on the farm, and they're gone. But there's the Lord. I think they planted them here because they were getting so big.
Okay, we got another one. Bonus. Bonus. Well, we're going to talk about this, but there's a bonus in there that I just saw. Bamboo is high in silica. You can take the leaves and make a tea and drink it. You can take the leaves and make powder out of it. You can pound these, the stems, and you dry them and pulverize them into powder and take it. Very high in silica. It's higher in silica than horsetail. It's in the same family as horsetail. So this is an edible, and then the young shoots, which I don't see any right off, the little shoots, yeah, you can eat the young shoots. There's one.
Oh, those are the
These, but the
Okay.
stalk.
You can dry them and then pulverize them and take it as a powder, or you can do that with the leaves or make a tea with the leaves. It's very good for the bones, for the skin, the hair, because it's so high in silica. But people eat the bamboo shoots.
How much leaves
You can eat it
need
raw?
for every tea?
Who knows what this is?
That's right.
You remember we talked about the greenbrier, the smilax, that the root was one of the ingredients in root beer? So what's this? If you make, you can dig the root of this tree up and make a very nice tasting drink. Very nice tasting drink.
So edible.
Only the root is usable?
You can also use the leaves, but it's the root that most people go for. But, okay, that's it. Thank you for coming. I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Henbit.
Thank you.
You can eat it. Yeah.